1600 years ago, Venice is just a marshy lagoon. Today, it's a city like no other, a patchwork of over 100 islands, connected by 400 bridges and 48 kilometers of canals. At its heart is St. Mark's Square, home to the iconic clock tower and basilica. It's a city brimming with history, created from centuries of immense wealth, conflict, and power. How does this extraordinary lagoon city come to be? Rising from marshland to become this magnificent masterpiece. The ground beneath Venice is riddled with wooden piles. Millions of them are driven into the waterlogged silt. Packed tightly, just 15 centimeters apart, they form a solid foundation in the soft soil. On top, wooden planks and slabs of limestone create a strong base for the Venetians to build monumental masterpieces like St. Mark's Basilica. Are these foundations enough to keep Venice's majestic buildings standing strong? The millions of wooden posts have stood resilient beneath Venice for centuries. They are a triumph of ancient engineering, and they transform the muddy islands into solid ground, stable enough for thousands of homes, churches, and palaces. But the 48 kilometers of snaking canals create fractures across the islands that put the buildings at risk. Venice's canals are naturally formed by water that flows between the islands. The largest, the Grand Canal, runs for 4 kilometers and has 170 houses along its banks. The buildings that teeter on the edge of the water risk of sudden collapse if the ground gives way. The constantly moving current erodes the banks in some places and deposits new sediment in others, changing the depth of the canals and the shape of the islands. But this is no good for a permanent city. So medieval Venetians come up with a clever solution. First, engineers barricade the canal and drain the water. Then they drive wooden piles into the soft ground along the edges. On top, they build thick brick walls and face the inner edge with impermeable stone to make the walls waterproof. When they refill the canal, the solid walls prevent the water eroding the islands, so the Venetians can build on every bit of land. The walls still stand to this day. Along the canal banks, the Venetians construct stunning buildings, like the Doge's Palace and Salute Church. They create one of the most magnificent cities in the world, on land that should be impossible to build on. And to help reduce the load on the canal walls and foundations, the Venetians have another clever trick. Instead of heavy stone, they use light brick to construct their buildings and build arches into the walls to lighten the load even more, creating the iconic facades of Venice we see today.